Good morning. Today is August the 19th, and today's Bible study is going to be read out of 2 Corinthians chapters 10 and 11. So read along with me. And now, a personal but most urgent matter I write in the gentle but firm Spirit of Christ. I hear that I'm being painted as cringing and wishy-washy when I'm with you. But harsh and demanding when I'm at a safe distance with writing letters. Please don't force me to take a hard line when I'm present with you. Don't think that I'll hesitate a single moment to stand up to those who say I'm an unprincipled opportunist. Then they'll have to eat their own words. The world is unprincipled. It's dog eat dog out there. The world doesn't fight fair, but we don't live or fight our battles that way. Never have, never will. The tools of our trade aren't for marketing and manipulation, but they are for demolishing that entirely massive corrupt culture. We use our powerful God tools for smashing warped philosophers and philosophies, tearing down barriers erected against the truth of God, fitting every loose thought and emotion and impulse into the structure of life shaped by Christ. Our tools are ready at hand for clearing the ground of every obstruction and building lives of obedience and maturity. You state and stare at the obvious, but you can't see the forest for the trees. If you're looking for a clear example of someone in Christ's side, why do you quickly cut me out? Believe me, I am quite sure of my standing with Christ. You may think I overstate the authority he gave me, but I'm not backing off. Every bit of my commitment is for the purpose of building you up. After all, not tearing you down. And what's this talk about me bullying you with my letters? His letters are brawny and potent, but in person, he's a weakling and mumbles when he talks. Such talk won't survive scrutiny. What we write when away, we do in the present. We're the exact same people absent or present in letter or in person. We're not understand putting ourselves into a league with those who boast that they're our superiors. We wouldn't dare do that. But in all this comparing and grading and competing, they quite miss the point. We aren't making outrageous claims here. We're sticking to the limits of what God has set for us, but there can be no question that those limits reach and include you. We're not moving into someone else's territory. We were already there with you, weren't we? We were the first ones to get there with the message of Christ, right? So, how can there be any question of overstepping our bounds by writing and visiting you? We're not barging in on the rightful work of others, interfering with their ministries, demanding a place in the sun with them. But we're hoping for, what we're hoping for is that your lives grow in faith. You'll play a part within our expanding work, and we'll all be within the limits God sets as we proclaim the message in the countries beyond Corinth. But we have no intention of moving in on what others have done and taking credit for it. If you want to claim credit, claim it for God. But what you say about yourself means nothing in God's work. It's what God says about you that makes the difference. Will you put up with a little foolish aside from me? Please, just for a moment. The thing that has me so upset that I care about is that I care about you so much. This is the passion of God burning inside me. I promised your hand in marriage to Christ, presented you as pure virgin to her husband. And now I am afraid that exactly as the snake seduced Eve with his smooth patter, you are being lured away from the simple purity of your love for Christ. It seems that if someone shows up preaching quite another Jesus than we preached, different spirit, different message, you put up with them quite nicely. But if you put up with these big shot apostles, why can't you put up with simple me? I'm as good as they are. It's true that I don't have their voice, haven't mastered the smooth eloquence that impresses you so much, but when I do open my mouth, I at least know what I'm talking about. We haven't kept anything back. We let you in on everything. I wonder, did I make a bad mistake in proclaiming God's message to you without asking for something in return? Serving you free of charge so that you wouldn't be inconvenienced by me. It turns out that the other churches paid my way so that you could have a free ride. Not once during the time I lived among you did anyone have to lift a finger to help me out. My needs were never supplied by the believers of Macedonia province. I was careful never to be a burden on you, and I never will be. You can count on it. With Christ as my witness, it's a point of honor with me, and I'm not going to keep it quiet just to protect you from what the neighbors will think. It's not that I don't love you. God knows I do. I'm just trying to keep things open and honest between us. And I'm not changing my position on this. I die before taking your money. I'm giving nobody grounds for lumping me in with those money-grubbing preachers. Vaunting themselves as something special. They're a sorry bunch. Pseudo-apostles, lying preachers, crooked workers, posing as Christ agents, but sham to the core. And no wonder, Satan does it all the time, dressing up as beautiful angel of light, so it couldn't surprise us when his servants masquerade as servants of God. But they're not getting by with anything. They'll pay for it in the end. Let me come back to where I started, and don't hold it against me if I continue to sound a little foolish. Or if you'd rather, just accept that I am a fool and let me rant on a little. I didn't learn this kind of talk from Christ. Oh no, it's a bad habit I picked up from those three-ring preachers that are so popular these days. Since you sit there in judgment seat surveying all these shenanigans, you can afford to humor an occasional fool who happens along. You have such admirable tolerance for impostors who rob your freedom, rip you off, steal you blind, put you down, even slap your face. I shouldn't admit it to you, but our stomachs aren't strong enough to tolerate that kind of stuff. Since you admire the egomaniacs of the pulpit so much, remember this is your old friend, the fool, talking. Let me try my hand at it. Do they brag of being Hebrews, Israelites, the pure race of Abraham? I'm their match. Are they servants of Christ? I can go one better. I can't believe I'm saying these things. It's crazy to talk this way, but I started and I'm going to finish. I've worked much harder, been jailed before more often, beaten up more times than I can count, and at death's door time after time. I've been flogged 5 times with the Jews, 39 lashes, beaten in Roman rods 3 times, pummeled with rocks once. I've been shipwrecked 3 times and immersed in the open sea for night and day. In hard traveling year and year out, I've had to find rivers. I've had to ford rivers, fend off robbers, struggle with friends, struggle with foes. I've been at risk in the city, at risk in the country, endangered by the desert sun and the sea storm, and betrayed by those I thought were my brothers. I've known drudgery and hard labor, many a long and lonely night without sleep, many a missed meal, blasted by the cold, naked to the weather. And that's not half of it. When you throw in daily pressures and anxieties and all of all the churches, when someone gets the end of his rope, I feel the desperation in my bones. When someone is duped into sin, and angry fire burns in my gut. If I have to brag about myself, I'll brag about the humiliations and make me like Jesus. The eternal and blessed God, the Father of our Master Jesus, knows I'm not lying. Remember the time I was in Damascus and the governor of King Aretas posted guards at the city gates to arrest me. I crawled through the window of the wall, was let down in a basket, and had to run for my life. That's the end. So we read 2 Corinthians chapter 10 and 11. I don't know where I'm going with this message. I read it this morning and I wrote the word at the top of chapter 10. I said pity party. And everything was negative in it. And so I thought, well, if you don't have anything good to say today, don't say anything at all. And we'll wait till tomorrow to see if I have a good message to preach. But then a song came on that related to this in a bigger way, and then my cat jumped on my stomach, and she never jumps on my stomach. And so I thought, well, maybe I'm supposed to do it. You know, you have to listen, pay attention to the little things in life that are telling you, do it, go for it, you know, jump off the cliff when you have to, even though you don't know where you're going to land. And so I decided I'm going to go ahead and do it. I wrote pity party because Paul's having a pity party that the Corinths don't like him, or they're making fun of him, or at least he's heard of that. And we all do that in life, don't we? We always throw a pity party for ourselves when something goes bad, goes wrong. I know that I do. I won't preach whenever I'm in a pity party. And then the first time I come back to preaching, I'll mention why I didn't preach, and I'll point out the reason I was in the pity party. It's human nature. Chapter 10, the number 10, is about man. It's man alone with the Spirit. You got a 1 and you got a 0, which is the Spirit. Yesterday in our message, and it was 2 Thessalonians, I mentioned how Paul was a political figure. He was not a humanitarian figure. He was not the Holy Mother or her son. He was a political figure trying to persuade people into his direction. He was a conservative trying to persuade people into the conservative direction or the liberal direction, whichever way you want to put it. He was trying to persuade someone into that direction, and that's what the New Testament is all about. And if you read chapter 10, verse 3 through 6, it says, the world is unprincipled. It's a dog eat dog world out there. There's never a fair fight, but we don't live for fight our battles that way. We never will, and we never have. The tools of our trade aren't for marketing and manipulation, but they're for demolishing that entirely massive corrupt culture. You could be watching Fox News or CNN. Paul's preaching Fox News or CNN at this point. He's trying to get you to one side or the other. He's a political figure. Well, then we get over to 2 Corinthians this is chapter 10 still, verse 9 through 11. He says, what we write when away, what we do when present, we're the exact same people. We aren't making up. We're sticking. We're not moving. We were the ones. We're not barging in. What we're hoping for, and we'll all still be within the limits of God. But we have no intention of moving. Where'd the we come in all of a sudden? Because he's been in a singular all the way up until there. And now he's in a we. Who's the we? Is it him and God? Did they get married? Does we mean that he's married now? He's in a marriage where there's two of them? What's interesting is that ends right before chapter 11, and the number 11 means man plus God. Got one and one. I've highlighted chapter 11 and verse 4 through 6. He says, you put up with him quite nicely, but if you put up with these big shot apostles, why can't you put up with me? I'm as good as they are. It's true that I have their voice. Haven't mastered that smooth eloquence that impresses you so much, though. He's saying, I'm married to God. I may not be as good as him. I don't have the eloquence that he does when he's preaching. But you need to listen to me because I'm married to him. 2 Corinthians chapter 11, verse 23 says, I've worked much harder, been jailed more often, beaten more times than I can count, and at death's door, time after time, I've been flogged 5 times with Jews, 39 lashes, beaten by the Roman rods 3 times, pummeled with rocks. I've been shipwrecked 3 times, immersed in the open sea for night and day. Hard traveling year in, year out, I've had to ford rivers, fend off robbers, struggle with friends, struggle with foes. I've been at risk in the city, at risk in the garden, in danger, desert sun, sea storm, betrayed by those that were my brothers. I've known drudgery and hard labor, many a long and lonely night without sleep, many missed meals, blasted by the cold, naked to the winter. Why is Paul telling us this? Why? Does he think it compares to the pain and suffering that Christ went through? Hopefully not. If he was a true believer and a true bride of Christ, why would he tell us all the suffering that he's been through when he knows his Christ and Savior has been through so much more? It's an odd question to ask yourself, isn't it? Down in 2 Corinthians 11, verse 31 probably, it says, I'm not lying. want to ask you a question. Say you've been engaged. Say you've been engaged for a very, very long time. And say 1 week, 7 days before your marriage day, the day you're to enter the chapel, say your vows, and become one with each other, that you learn that your betrothed has lied to you for the entire amount of time that you've known each other. Would you marry him or her? The difference between man and God is truth. The only way to reveal the truth is through the man who is flawed and the woman who is flawed. But you reveal yourself through all of those lies and fraud into the truth? How does that happen? We've talked before about how to make a fiction non-fiction. And perhaps that's not through the first and second covenant, but it's through the eighth covenant, the third covenant, which is the eighth seal that we talked about yesterday. It's not found in the Bible, but I'm pretty sure it's found somewhere. We have to search for it. We have to search for the truth. Not the lies, not the pity party, not the deceptions, but we find it somewhere so that we can claim it. That's our message today. Have a good one.